Oh, we back at it again. Yeah. Another night of Dynamite. Talking about Rampage from last week. Bunch of other shit. I think the Brian Kendrick fiasco happened between last time we chatted. I gotta put this shit on the soundboard so I can fade it out, because right now it's just gonna be like it's gonna shut off real quick. Oh, it kind of fades out. All right. Never mind. Okay. How's it going, everybody? Episode 5. Smells like Wrasslin. Dynamite just happened. Huge show. Big debuts happened. Debuts of motherfucking Keith Lee and Jay White. Good shit. I mean, honestly, the way that they were hyping it up, if it wasn't Keith Lee, then the only other name that would have been as big would have been like a Bray Wyatt or, I don't know, someone ridiculous, you know, like John Cena or some shit. But yeah, an interesting show. We're going to talk about Rampage with that fucking sweet-ass main event from last week with Jay Lethal versus Ricky Starks. That match was match of the week for me. That Rampage, I thought, blew away Dynamite. I thought it was a great show from top to bottom of some good wrestling. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what happened on Dynamite tonight and what that means for AEW moving forward. The road to Revolution begins. We had the first qualifying match today, so that pay-per-view is in March. So obviously all these shows are going to be leading up to the formation of that card. Oh, thank you, homie, for the haircut. But yeah, good shit. And let's get going. So I want to talk about Rampage from last week to start it off. Actually, let's go into some news. So, if I remember correctly, I don't think we started this, I don't know if we talked about this last week. I don't believe so. But so Brian Kendrick was scheduled to wrestle Jon Moxley on Rampage. And it was going to be a big deal because, he literally, just left WWE and then, bam, goes immediately to AEW. And then between that announcement and Rampage, they canceled his ass. Apparently he did an interview where he said some wild conspiracy theory shit. I mean, if you want to go and look it up, you can. I didn't read it for myself. I actually, I was listening to Cornette, and I think he was reading it verbatim. And I kind of agree with Jim. It was all too ludicrous for it to be taken seriously. So, and Kendrick did come out and say that those were never his views. So I could only assume that he was doing it as some sort of work gimmick or whatever, where he was just going to say ridiculous shit and hopefully that was going to put him over. Was that the best plan going forward? Nah, not really. I mean, it was a roll of the dice. I mean, if it was real, then, whatever, man, he's just, let him be a weirdo. But I'm not, when I go and get an AEW pay-per-view or WWE pay-per-view, I'm not checking to see what these motherfuckers are doing in real life. I'm a Marvel movie fan. You don't see me trying to figure out and, garbage pick through fucking Chris Evans' life to see whether or not I should like the Captain America movies. I don't give a fuck. It's not my place to morally judge people, so I don't care. I watch a show, and I am looking forward to a character, and if the character shows up or doesn't show up on TV, it is what it is. So the character of Brian Kendrick did not show up. He is not the man with the plan. So he's not on there. He ended up wrestling Wheeler Yuta, who, like, not gonna lie, I mean, like, I was not too hot on Wheeler Yuta for a while. I like what he does in the ring. You know, he knows his shit. I mean, granted, he doesn't necessarily have a character. I feel like he's just kind of like a sidekick to the best friends or whatever. You know, he did his part filling in for Trent while Trent was out. He's not bad. I kind of felt like they were like doing all the shit where like Trent's got this thing where like he's got a beef with Wheeler Yuta, but that never really formulated. You know, they did that. They kind of hinted at it on BT. They hinted at it one time when Trent was about to have a match, and the best friends walked out with them, and you know they're all giving daps, but like he kind of like did one half-heartedly to Wheeler, so you know whatever. I don't know what's going on with that, but you know it wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a bad match. Let's go through the matches. Both the TNT title and the FTW title were defended that night. First match was Adam Cole Bebe fighting Evil Uno. I guess like he had to fight somebody that had some sort of name or kind of like noteworthiness, and beat them because he's gonna start making his way up to challenge for the title, which was obviously heavily alluded to tonight on Dynamite, which we'll get into that in a little bit. So, you know, Evil Uno, he didn't even get an entrance on TV. He was kind of already in the ring. So, like, already it was kind of like he's a guy that we know, but we're not pushing him as a big deal. Adam Cole beat the shit out of him, which was awesome. Beat him. He gets on the mic, goes through a list of all the guys he's beaten, saying he's undefeated, saying that the match with Orange Cassidy was a joke and didn't count. I mean, obviously, like, they were booking it as a lights-out match because it couldn't affect Adam Cole's record. To be honest, Orange Cassidy needed somebody noteworthy to beat. Yes, the argument could be made that it didn't need to be fucking Adam Cole, especially if he was going for the title. It could have really been anybody else. But I don't know. Like, I guess, I don't know. I don't know where the strategy was in that. I understand that Adam Cole's a ratings draw and so is Orange Cassidy. So having them fight in a match that really could only benefit the both of them because it puts a spotlight on Adam Cole. Even though he lost, he's still in like a big spot. And being shown off as like a top guy or a big deal along with Orange Cassidy. You know, Orange Cassidy gets the win because, you know, to be honest, like the gimmick can only go so far. If you're going to put him in matches, it's got to be against like noteworthy people. Again, I understand the argument that it doesn't need to be fucking Adam Cole, but you know, that's what Tony went with. He basically said that he's going to be, he always ends up running the show. He wins no matter what company, what promotion, what brand, and he's going to be the AEW champion. So that kind of goes along with what I was predicting. Cole versus Hangman for Revolution. I feel like that was even more supported tonight after Dynamite. We go into the next match. It was the TNT title match. Sammy Guevara defeats Isaiah Cassidy. That was a pretty dope match. You know, like Isaiah Cassidy is great in the ring. And I think Private Party is an awesome tag team. I think they're young. I don't think there's no need to rush them right now. I would say if if AEW had like its own NXT, like a developmental, Private Party would be making a big splash there. But since there is no developmental, they're kind of too big for Dark, but not big enough for like every, you know, like to be in a title run or a main event run in Dynamite. So, again, that goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I feel like maybe Dark and Elevation should be treated as their own brand and give them their own titles. You know, like the Dark title or whatever, and it kind of looks like the AEW belt, but maybe it's like a gunmetal or like a titanium kind of belt or whatever. That would be pretty cool. But you know, it's fine. Great match that they had. Guevara's wearing both belts to the ring. I was kind of hoping he would just wear one from now on. Like, I get it. Like, I don't need to see him wearing two identical belts. So I hope that gimmick goes away sooner rather than later. I just want him holding on to one belt. And then he goes to the freaking, the summit that they had with the Inner Circle. What do you call it? Like the team meeting or whatever the fuck. and he was wearing both belts. Then he comes out in the middle of the commercial break with both belts. I'm like, okay. Even with the commercial breaks, I thought this was a solid match. But it was a good match. Then after the match, it looks like Andrade and Matt are gonna jump Sammy. Jericho gets up from commentary looking like he's gonna run in, but Darby fucking comes out, chases away everybody, and they have a stare down, and that's pretty much it. And Darby Allin kind of gives Sammy his props, but also kind of alluding to the fact that he wants that TNT title also. QT Marshall, he cuts a promo, you're basically shitting all over Hook, saying he's got like a special student that he's gonna go and fight him. I'm pretty sure that they actually put that out there on the promos for Dynamite, and it was somebody's name I had never heard of. I forgot. I really should have made note of it, but that's what's gonna happen this Friday on Rampage, because it looks like Hook and Rampage are synonymous with one another. Statlander has a interview backstage with Schiavone, and gets jumped by Layla Hirsch with a chair, and then Red Velvet goes and makes the save. I like Chris Statlander. Again, I think I would like to see her. Okay, the reason why Britt is so successful is because not only is she good in the ring, but she's a fantastic character, and she cuts great promos and has great segments on the mic. I think that Statlander has everything but those mic skills. I think she's got a decent enough character. I think she's fantastic in the ring. I think she's got a great look. But aside from that, they haven't really given her much opportunity with the mic. She's kind of been like that silent, weird character or whatever, really focusing on her facial expressions to kind of give forth a story and her emotions and what she's feeling. But aside from that, I just want to see a little bit more. And, she's young. It's only we're almost now going on year 3 of AEW, so she's going to be fine. She's going to be awesome. And eventually she's going to be someone that's going to hold a title, whether it's the TBS or the AEW women's title. We'll see. Next match I was slightly annoyed with. Thunder Rosa defeats Mercedes Martinez by disqualification. Match went about 6.5 minutes. Basically, Rosa came right out of the gate and starts beating the shit out of Martinez, hits her with a shotgun drop kick. Martinez, she comes back with a spine buster. They have a break. Show returns with Martinez hitting a Death Valley driver from the middle of the rope for a near fall. Martinez attempts to crucifix powerbomb out of the corner. Rosa slips out. Catches Martinez in an Emerald Ferocian. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that fucking name right. But I had to look up the name of the move, and that's what it is, and they don't really tell you pronunciation. Martinez slides out to the floor. She pulls a pipe out from under the ring, duffs Rosa in the face, DQ. I thought it was, they don't really do DQs often. I think it was probably the first DQ ever on Rampage. I think they made mention of that in the commentary. I kind of just would have wanted to see her beat her clean, but I get it. You don't want to give Martinez a loss, right out of the gate per se. So it kind of gives her a win, gives her a showcase to show how dominant she is. I guess the only reason why I was annoyed with the DQ is because of all the tomfoolery and fuckery that happened on Dynamite that week with the MJF match. So I was almost at my fill, but it's gonna end up. It looks like it's gonna end up being a no DQ match between Martinez and Rosa. It actually, let's see, they do a promo package hyping up Serena Deeb, and then actually they go to backstage. Shivani goes and she's talking with Martinez. Britt Baker interrupts, and basically they make it blatant that it was Britt that hired Martinez to come in and fuck over Thunder Rosa. So obviously this is leaning to the final blowout between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. My prediction is it's going to be at Revolution. It's going to be a cage match. I don't think they're going to do a traditional wrestling match. I think they're going to play off of the fact that they had a really awesome death match during the COVID era that really put the two of them on the map, especially Britt. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to, it came out in an interview, earlier this week, I think with Renee, that, Thunder Rosa was really looking forward to doing a steel cage match. So I think that that's not coincidence. I think she knows that a cage match is in the cards for her. It's definitely going to be against Britt. It would make sense to do it at Revolution because it's a money match. I'm fucking sick and tired of title matches happening on live TV. There should be very few and far between. And if there is going to be a title match, it better be with limited commercial break and no fuck finish. That's what I want. That's what I want. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that is, but like, if I have to sit, but like, if it's in the middle of the week, I want it to be worth my while. If I'm going to sit from 8 to 10 and watch something. But like, I don't know. I don't know. Just something about really important matches on live television that have some sort of fuckery in them. It just bothers me. You know what I mean? Because it's not only that, but like and that, like if you add the commercials on top of that, I feel like it really pulls you from the match. Apparently Jamie Hayter did not know about Baker siding with Martinez. So that could also maybe be finally Hayter's chance to be out from underneath the thumb of Britt Baker. Britt Baker swaps that with Mercedes Martinez. She's got muscle again. She stays, with a trio or a faction or whatever the fuck you want to call them. The two people who need to get out of the thumbs of the leading men in the factions that they're in are Jamie Hayter and Wardlow. And I think it's only a matter of time before that happens. And obviously, being that it was Britt that paid it off, like I said before, it's obviously leading up to the eventual rematch between Britt and Thunder. Everyone's been looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to this. It's been a long time coming. Everyone wanted a rematch after that match. Everyone wanted either of them to have the belts after that match. And out of the two of them, it was Britt that ended up with the title after that match. So it's Rosa's turn. Like, that AEW championship, needs someone noteworthy, and I think Rosa's the person to do it. She's super over with the crowd. Everybody loves her. She's due. She hasn't had a belt. She hasn't had a belt yet. She really hasn't had any, I'm waiting for, big wins from her, and I think this is it. I think she's due. And I think she'll definitely be able to carry the women's division as a face before whoever is in that women's division is going to be good enough to take that belt off of her. Maybe a Ruby Soho. Maybe they'll do another, face versus face thing. Those are always kind of tough to do. I kind of like heel versus face, title matches. It just makes it easy to know who to root for. But, we'll see. They do a rundown for Dynamite Wednesday, which is, I'm not going to go over that because we're going over Dynamite tonight, but it's whatever. They go over what's going to happen on Rampage this Friday. Hook versus, Blake Lee. That's what his name is, Blake Lee. Blake Lee and Hook are going to fight each other. This is QT Marshall's, prize student or whatever. Hook is going to whoop his ass, obviously. This is obviously going to lead up to a match between Hook and QT, which will probably either be, I don't know, maybe on the opening of a Dynamite, or maybe the main event of a Rampage, or maybe the kickoff show to a pay-per-view. I still think that there's unfinished business between Team Taz and Dante Martin, and I think it's only a matter of time because they still have Dante Martin fucking around with Team Taz and getting into feuds with Powerhouse Hobbs. And they did another angle on Dark and Elevation this week with Hobbs and Dante Martin, so they are gonna fucking have a rematch, and it's gonna end up coming down to Dante versus Hook, and that's gonna be the big match to put Hook over. They're just kind of holding off on it because, they should do that slow build with Hook. He's a fantastic commodity, great look, super over cult following with him. If you book him correctly, he's going to be a fucking star. And so far, they're knocking it out of the park with him. Next one is the match of the week for me. Ricky Starks versus Jay Lethal for the FTW title. They gave him about 13 minutes. This match was fucking awesome. I'm actually gonna this is one of the rare matches I'm gonna go over in depth because I feel like they're really good matches. I'm really gonna want to go through minute by minute. I will say this, the crux of this match was the absolutely picture perfect finish, which we'll get to. Great match. I love Lethal. I love Starks. Starks is criminally underrated. Lethal is already proven to be a fucking awesome wrestler. It was bound to be a great match. It didn't disappoint. The beginning of the match, you got Lethal sending Starks into the ring barricade. after a tope suicida. You got Lethal hitting a move the second time. Powerhouse Hobbs kind of gets in Lethal's face to kind of, distract him or whatever. Lethal tries to send Starks into the ring post. You got Starks doing that thing where he slides underneath the ropes, swings around the ring post, and then hits Lethal with a clothesline. I love that spot. They went to another break. During the break, you got Starks hitting an awesome belly-to-belly suplex. You got Lethal escaping a front face lock. He catches Starks with a clothesline. Got Starks missing a splash in the corner. Lethal goes for pin attempts. They're going back and forth, back and forth. You got Lethal taking Starks down with a pump kick and an insecurity. I love that fucking combo. Hobbs gets on the apron again. Starks knocks him off with a drop. I'm sorry, not Starks. Lethal drops him off with a drop kick. He does a springboard back into the ring, but the pièce de resistance of this fucking match was they go back in the ring. Lethal hits a cutter, which was awesome. Tries to go for the lethal injection. It gets avoided. Starks tries to set up a J-driller. Lethal counters that into a jackknife cover. Lethal goes for the lethal injection, but when he goes off of the ropes, Starks catches him, flips him into a Rochambeau, 1, 2, 3 for the pin. Match of the week. If you guys haven't watched this match, please watch it. It was awesome. How fluid it was from Lethal going into that lethal injection into the Rochambeau was absolutely phenomenal. Great match. It lived up to the hype. Ricky Starks is the man. I felt like that FTW title means a lot more now after that match because both Starks and Lethal elevated it. I want there to be more matches like this for the FTW title. I want to care about it more. If I want it to always ping pong between someone from Team Taz and someone feuding with Team Taz. And I really think that this match was a step in the right direction. It looks like they were kind of teasing Darby Allin, Darby Allin versus Sammy for the title was teased. I think it's going to be, it's possible we might have a match between Darby and Andrade. We don't know what the other qualifying matches are for the Face of the Revolution match because that winner of that match gets a TNT shot. So a lot of people could possibly be in it. I'm going to talk about that more as we go over Dynamite because the first qualifying match was tonight. Dynamite was in Atlantic City, New Jersey tonight. Pretty much the top things that were going to happen tonight was going to be the AEW title was going to be on the line. Lance Archer versus Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match. If you watch the promo with Lance Archer hyping up this match, the way he says death match was epic. You should definitely check it out. It was definitely good character work on from Archer. Tony Khan has a huge announcement, which did we get one? Is that happening? I mean, like, did that happen on Twitter and I not hear about it? Because there was no announcement tonight, was there? I mean, I watched the whole show. Did I miss something? Anywho, the TBS title will be on the line. Jade Cargill will be defending the title against the debuting AQA. Serena Deeb announces a 5-minute rookie challenge where she obviously beats the ass out of some poor unsuspecting woman. I fucking love Serena Deeb, so I'm all for that. And it'll definitely put over the person who eventually beats her. It could be the returning Sheeta. We haven't seen her in a while, so who fucking knows? Or it could be a new woman being signed and takes her out, so who knows? Jericho called for an Inner Circle team meeting. Attendance is mandatory. MJF was going to speak on his big victory, against CM Punk last week. As soon as the show starts, you could tell that something was going to go on with MJF because there was a Burberry carpet going down the entrance ramp. You got Wardlow looking all pissed off and annoyed. He's carrying these ridiculous cardboard cutouts of Max. One was him choking out Punk, which is the one where he was choking him out with the wrist tape from last week. And then another one when he was kind of just sitting on Punk's chest, all cross-legged like he does when he cuts pipe bombs, looking all triumphant. He gives paperwork to Justin Roberts on who to announce. He announces FTR. FTR comes out. They announce Shawn Spears. Then they give Justin Roberts a folder. This whole long list of accolades for fucking MJF. MJF comes out. He literally was being carried on a like a throne on top of the backs of like 6 dudes, just waving to the crowd like a glorified fucking douchebag. It was magnificent. He started by saying he made it clear he's the best wrestler on the planet. When he beat Punk, he said it made him emotional because he beat one of his heroes, and it made him so emotional that when the match was over, he leaned over close to CM Punk's face and was just like, "You suck." What a dick. He basically was just like, I want to thank this guy, one person who without him, I could have never beat Punk. I got to give this big guy some credit. And then he gives it to Shawn Spears because Shawn Spears helped him warm up before the match. Wardlow's obviously pissed, takes a big swig of fucking alcohol while he's in the ring. It's coming. It's coming, people. I don't know when, I don't know where, but the Wardlow face turn is coming and it's going to be fucking awesome. And then Punk comes, and then Spears gives him a gift that saying that he has a new shirt that says better than the best in the world. It's actually on AEWshop.com, so whatever. Punk comes out. Oh, also MJF also says that he's got his eyes set on the AEW title. Obviously AEW, the next AEW champ is going to be MJF. He's going to take it off of Hangman. I bet my life on it. That's the shit that's going to happen. It's definitely not happening at Revolution. It probably will happen at maybe either Double or Nothing, or hopefully not on TV. I pray to God. The latest All Out, because I don't think they're going to give Hangman a year reign, having him go from Full Gear to Full Gear, unless they really want to build him up as a big-time babyface. But, I don't know how much longer he could be a relevant champion, because there isn't very, you don't want to have him go over too many people. I mean, I know people are already going to get pissed off with him going over Adam Cole at the pay-per-view, but let's face facts, people. It's going to fucking happen. Adam Cole, the argument could be made, if you're not going to give Adam Cole the belt, why put him in a situation to go for the belt? You got to make him a big deal somehow, and he can't just be fucking fighting all these random-ass people. I mean, yeah, he could be having, I don't know, if someone could give me a better idea on how to book Adam Cole than what he's doing right now, but not have it involve him holding any belts, I'm open to suggestions. But I think right now might be the best idea that they're coming up with. But if anyone else has something else, I'm all for that. Basically, Punk says, Punk comes out and says that the win was as suspect as his spray tan. He says, I'm tired of getting jumped by, which finally solves my whole thing that I was getting pissed off with during Dynamite, that Punk was looking like such a geek because he just kept on getting his ass whooped by cheaters who are known to cheat without taking any sort of precautions to protect himself. Finally, he smartens up. He's not a dumbass babyface. He brings out Darby and Sting with baseball bats. Basically, he wanted the rematch. Dax he interrupts and says he wants a rematch because he didn't like the fact that that they lost to Darby and Sting and Punk, because they did lose that triple threat. So basically, they said, all right, Punk in a tag team match against FTR, but he can't have Darby or Sting as his tag team partner. So the mystery for Dynamite was who was going to be Punk's mystery partner. He actually sent out a tweet in the middle of the show asking what Samoa Joe was doing. So that really got me hyped to see if we were going to get the debuts we got tonight between Jay White, Keith Lee, and then you want to add on fucking Samoa Joe, that would have been dope. But the person that we got was an acceptable substitute. They had the commercial break. After that, it was Andrade finally meeting with Mr. Stink and the Kid. He still keeps on saying, I'm talking to his boss. And Sting's like, bro, didn't you not tell him that you don't work for me? He's like, I told him, bro. And he's like, listen, you want to talk with Darby? You talk to Darby. I'm not his boss. He doesn't work for anybody. And then basically, Darby said, my main concern is not you, Andrade. I want the TNT title. And then Andrade's like, well, you and me got something in common because I want the TNT title. You're going to end up working for me. I would like to see Andrade hold the TNT title. I don't know how, because, Keith Lee is going to be in that ladder match, and I think a lot of people are going to expect for him to win. Keith Lee beating Sammy Guevara, ain't nobody going to complain about that. It's motherfucking Keith Lee. Andrade winning would be dope, and then maybe dropping it to a Keith Lee somewhere down the line would be awesome too, because Andrade is incredible, Keith Lee is incredible, an Andrade versus Keith Lee match, fucking take my money. All right, that would be an awesome match. So there's a lot of potential. A lot of potential is coming. Is being surrounded by this TNT title belt. I actually feel like it's a more hyped title than the AEW Championship right now. But hopefully Adam Cole will change that, because definitely more spotlight needs to be brought in that AEW title aside from what Hangman's giving it. But so far, Hangman's still over with the crowd. You gotta have these guys have significant title reigns. It may not be all flash and dash, but you're not going to get, the problem is that the first two matches of Hangman's, championship, whatever, were Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. So to be quite honest, anybody else outside of that is going to be a step down. So you have to, I just go in there with just realistic expectations. There's not going to be massive people out there, massive challenges for him all the time. He's going to have in-between challenges that are going to put over people that haven't had the spotlight in a long time, and then he's going to put over, more notable people. Next match was Wardlow versus The Blade. Poor Blade, man, because the Butcher just keeps on getting injured. I really do like that tag team. They are sorely missed in that tag team division, because I guarantee that would have been a great matchup for the Jurassic Express. But, he just got injured again, so, best wishes to the Butcher. Hopefully he gets healthy, and we get to see him and the Blade back in the ring soon. They actually had Wardlow, take, actually sell for the Blade for a bit. Not many people really get to get one over on Wardlow, but he needs to start wrestling slightly longer matches if they're gonna give him this big push. It has to happen. You can't just have another, Goldberg-esque kind of person, a guy who just beats people in 3 seconds, because there's limits to what you could do with that guy. Because after he loses, those 3-minute matches don't mean too much anymore. And if he loses, he's probably not going to be losing in a 3-minute match. He's going to be losing in a more, I'm sorry, not even 3 minutes, a 30-second match. But, he's not going to be losing very quickly when he does finally lose. So I'm glad that they're giving Wardlow an opportunity to have slightly longer matches. I think it's good for his character. I think it's the inevitable evolution of his character. He's going to have to start selling. He's going to have to start showing a little bit of humanity. He can't be as protected for forever. I do think the road to his face turn starts and ends with MJF. Depending on what they're going to do with MJF in the future now, obviously they're getting the CM Punk rematch. When that's going to happen, I don't know. I assume Revolution, because I don't want another one on fucking television again, unless they're going to give me a clean finish, unless they're going to do a trilogy of matches between Punk and MJF, and, maybe Punk does something underhanded to beat MJF, and they have to do a trilogy, so who knows. They give, obviously, Wardlow does the Powerbomb Symphony, hits the Blade with 4 power bombs, and beats him. Then Spears beat the shit out of Blade with a chair. Obviously, one of the first matches on his face turn run is going to be against Shawn Spears as well, so, be prepared for that. Pentagon has a video package. Basically, he's calling out Malachi Black. I think he's going to have that mask that has the one eye covered. I don't know what's going on with House of Black. I assume they're going to be the ones who are going to be challenging and winning the AEW tag titles from the Jurassic Express. I do think that Julia Hart is inevitably going to join that team. She's been kind of showing a little bit of a dark side. She doesn't seem as attached to the Varsity Blondes anymore. You could tell when you watch Dark this week, she's kind of shoving them off, I got this, I'm my own woman, blah, blah, blah. And to be honest, the more aggressive side of her in the ring is awesome. So I can't wait for her to get rid of the cheerleader gimmick and have this new badass gimmick. I think the women's division needs a character like that. She's awesome. She's young. She's got potential. She's extremely athletic with her gymnastics and her cheerleading background. So it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to that. They do the Inner Circle team meeting. Jericho comes out with Guevara and Hager, but Santana and Ortiz didn't come out with them. Basically, Jericho says, attendance was mandatory. He hasn't seen Santana and Ortiz all day, so he doesn't even know if they're showing up. Cue Santana and Ortiz's music. They show up. This is the promo I've been waiting to hear from Proud and Powerful. They need to get out from underneath Jericho. They need to be the ones going, they are also they are the team that I predict will beat the Kings of the Black Throne for the AEW tag team titles if my predictions are correct. If the way that I see the tag team division goes as I think it's going to go, it's going to be the Kings of the Black Throne are going to take them off of Jurassic Express. Then we got Proud and Powerful taking it off of them. So them getting away from Chris Jericho is the best thing for them. Basically, Jericho said it was disrespectful that Santana and Ortiz weren't not tagging him in that matchup that they had. Santana basically says that Jericho only cares about himself, and the inner circles only serve Jericho's interest. Every single time they go after the tag titles, it gets shut down so they could back up Jericho, which is 100% true. Every single time I think that Proud and Powerful should be going for the tag team titles, they end up getting involved in some sort of inner circle bullshit. So that's 100% correct in terms of AEW canon. They are completely justified with that. Basically, he was like, they want, they've challenged for, Santana. What ends up happening is that, they're done playing second fiddle to Jericho. The only thing that kept them going was the fans, and that if it wasn't for Ortiz, Santana would have dropped Jericho a while ago. So basically, Jericho was like, you know what, you remind me of Eddie. Eddie was great, but he got too ahead of himself, and he got into situations he couldn't control. And he's like, you know what, you guys are making him turn into Eddie Kingston. And Jericho went on saying he's an influencer. He's the one who got them into AEW. He said that they've challenged for championships. They've main evented pay-per-views. He's like, they already challenged, but they did have a couple of chances at the titles. They had a chance at the titles when I think I think they only had them against the Bucks. I don't know if they fought FTR for the titles when FTR had that reign. But basically, Jericho goes and throws them under the bus, saying maybe they picked the wrong people from LAX and asked if fucking Homicide and Hernandez could show up. Santana lost his shit, started choking out Jericho. You got Sammy, he gets in between them, starts saying how we're a family. He's like, I'm focused on being one of the greatest champions of all time. All this bickering isn't gonna help. So until you guys figure your shit out, I'm out. I've walked away before, I could walk away again. Takes off the inner circle vest, drops it on the deck, and basically he basically just he goes and buggers off. So Ortiz takes the mic and says, you know how we settle things, where we come from? We don't settle it with this. We settle it with this. So they challenge Hager and Jericho to a tag team matchup. I think that's happening next week on Dynamite. And that'll be, I guess, what squashes the beef. To be quite honest, Santana and Ortiz, they need this win. Get out from underneath Jericho. I think the breakup of the inner circle is the cue for Jericho to take some time off. And hopefully, I think he's self-aware enough to notice that, because I think the gimmick right now, it's hit its point. That's it. He's done as far as he could go with this current iteration of Chris Jericho with the inner circle. He's got to come back and do something else. So we'll see. But I do think Santana and Ortiz are going to be the ones who are going to come out on top in that tag team match. Let's see. They go backstage with Roppongi Vice, saying that they're going to fight the Bucks this Friday on Rampage. So finally, we're going to get the Roppongi Vice and Young Bucks match that I wanted a couple of weeks ago. It's finally going to happen this week on Rampage. So again, Rampage definitely going to be must watch. Any match with the Young Bucks is worth watching, and they've wrestled against Roppongi Vice so many times that this is not going to be a bad match, not by a long shot. It should definitely be a great match. So hopefully it's the main event and closes out the show. Bucks walked up, say they wanted to fight right now. Adam Cole comes out of nowhere, attacks Roppongi Vice, hits the BTE trigger on Rocky Romero. They're about to hit it on Trent, and all of a sudden, the fucking leader of the Bullet Club, the Switchblade, Jay White of New Japan Pro Wrestling, shows up, beats the piss out of Trent, compliments Nick Jackson on the Switchblade earrings that he has, and walks off. Jay White is in All Elite Wrestling. He's obviously signed with New Japan, so I don't know. Tony Khan said a lot of stuff leading up to Dynamite, talking about forbidden doors being open and closed. There's going to be a signing. There's going to be a huge announcement. Which, by the way, chat, if one of you guys could tell me if Tony Khan actually did make an announcement on Dynamite on Twitter, I would like to know. So if you could let me know that, please, because I did not see a major announcement on Dynamite. I saw 2 major debuts, but Tony Khan did not announce anything. So I don't know if I missed it, but please, please let me know. Sorry, my mouth is so dry from fucking yapping. Oh, much better. So Jay White coming into AEW is a big fucking deal. A big fucking deal. Jay White's the man. He's the leader of Bullet Club. Cole actually made mention of Bullet Club, saying that if you're Bullet Club, you're Bullet Club for life. Cole, the Bucks, all members of Bullet Club. So, he quoted Nick Khan. Oh, that was it? With the opening and shut? All right. I don't know. He said major announcement. So, what could that be? Oh, so it was nothing? Doom? Okay. Well, if you find out, please let me know. All right. So that's a big deal, man. That opens up the doors to a lot of shit. Does that mean Guerrillas of Destiny are showing up? There have been cracks between the Bucks and Adam Cole since Adam Cole showed up. It started with Kenny Omega kind of focusing more on the Bucks than Adam Cole. Excuse me. We do know that, Cole and Omega have a history. Cole bringing in Jay White and Omega are enemies. You know what I mean? So there's some stuff. There is some elite Bullet Club shit going on. Whether or not this is really going to be pushing forward to some sort of elite versus Bullet Club storyline, I don't know, but that would be pretty awesome. Let's see. Face of the Revolution ladder match. Keith Lee is all elite. He is the man who fights Isaiah Cassidy in this match, beats the shit out of him. Keith Lee is in the Face of the Revolution ladder match at Revolution. He was the guy. He was the guy that they had to sign after all that hype. It had to be either Keith Lee, Bray Wyatt. The only other people I could think of was motherfuckers I don't know, a John Cena or fucking Shane McMahon. I mean, to be honest, or Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, Keith Lee, Bray Wyatt, or Johnny Gargano. Any of those guys sign, that's a big deal. And Tony hit it out of the park. He's in. Keith Lee is in. Keith Lee is all elite. So what's he saying? He said he butchers his own definition. So was that a tweet that hold on. So was that a recent tweet that he put out after the show that he basically fudged up his own gimmick? Just let me know. Let's see. It was a great match. It was a classic big guy versus little guy match. Keith Lee just launched this guy all over the ring. I'm talking about he threw him so high and so far across the ring. He did the pounce, which was awesome too. I was hoping for a bigger pounce moment because, Isaiah Cassidy's are probably as light or lighter than Adam Cole, and he launched Adam Cole in that episode of NXT back in the day. So I was kind of hoping for that. But hey, congrats to Keith Lee. Welcome to a place where you're not going to be fucking just buried, giving you stupid ass gimmicks called Bearcat and putting you in fucking leotards and shit. So, good for you, Keith Lee. Welcome to All Elite Wrestling. Super excited. A lot of great shit coming down the line with Keith Lee. You could do a lot of good shit with him. I will say this. My only worry is AEW and big men. Traditionally, AEW does not really book their big men very often. They are booked strong, but not necessarily very often. You know what I mean? We could talk about Brian Cage, but Brian Cage, I don't know. Brian Cage, you can't always say, if he was on TV, he would be over. The times that he was on TV, he wasn't really over. And to be honest, there isn't as much, Tony's not really taking away creative control from these guys. So, Brian Cage didn't get Brian Cage over. Tony Khan gave him the opportunity. Brian Cage didn't get himself over, and that was pretty much it. I know people have a problem with Lance Archer and the way he's been booked. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Putting him in these death matches, he should be in feuds with big hoss guys. You know what I'm talking about? Put Lance Archer in a feud with, like, Powerhouse Hobbs one day. You know? Have Lance, you know, like, have, I don't know, but, like, there could be other stuff done with the big men in there. After Rampage with Ricky Starks. Wait, what? What are you talking about after Rampage with Ricky Starks? Anywho, so I don't know, like, I just hope he gets booked I just hope he gets booked well. I know a lot of people want to throw a title on him really quick. It's just, you can't do that. You can't do that with every signing. Like, people just people just jump the gun too quickly. And I gotta make a note for myself. I got, like, something I want to talk to you guys, like, about. I got some final thoughts I want to give. Give me a minute. Okay. Anywho, so yeah, so he's in, and he's going to be in that ladder match where it's going to be a lot of spotlight on him. It's going to be at a pay-per-view. There's going to be a lot of top talent in that match. I can only assume that Darby's going to be in it. Andrade's going to be in it. A lot of great guys are going to be in that match. That match is going to be pretty fucking fire. So, we'll see. After the match, both members of Private Party attacked Keith Lee, and Keith Lee beat the shit out of both of them DM. So that was pretty awesome. A video promo recapped basically what I was talking about before, the whole thing with Britt Baker and Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa. They say next week Rosa is going to fight Martinez in a no DQ match. So, like, that's going to happen on Dynamite next week, which should be pretty awesome. I assume that that's going to be Rosa getting over her. She'll probably go through the rest of Britt's flunkies, as people tend to do whenever they want to fight Britt, and it'll lead to her and Britt at Revolution, which is my hope. And I also hope it's in a cage match, because I really think those two women are going to blow the roof off the joint in a cage match. So that should be pretty, that should be pretty good. CM Punk gets Jon Moxley to be his tag team partner tonight against FTR. This was a great tag team match. The end of the match got a little bit sloppy. You could tell that there was supposed to be a breakup of a pin after the Shatter Machine on Punk. And I don't know who missed their cue, because, like, Moxley got in there pretty quick. I feel like Aubrey didn't do the count quick enough. But aside from that, this is an awesome match. FTR is the best tag team out there. I really hope that they have another run at the titles. I really have to go back and watch that FTR and Young Bucks match. I remember I was a little bit worried about that match in the beginning, because I knew that Matt Jackson had an injury that really prevented him from doing a lot of shit. So I don't know if that match was, like, the match. Here's the problem with FTR. A lot of the times FTR, whenever they got into a match, like, there's an injury that's taken place. Phoenix and Penta, when Cash Wheeler got hurt, when Matt Jackson got hurt. So I feel like they never really got a fair shake at a really good championship match, or, like, actual tag team matches that you want to see with, like, guys who are really over as tag teams. So I really feel like they're not necessarily the victims of bad booking. They're just the victims of bad luck. And you could say the same thing with Death Triangle. Death Triangle has had horrible luck also. Between Phoenix getting injured and Pac not being able to get into the country, it's just back and forth with them. I just really feel bad. So, if any of you are disappointed in the routes that any of those men in the groups that I mentioned are taking, it's just injuries, man. Like, they can't be helped. Like, even the best booking can't work your way around that. And I think for the most part, I think Tony's done a pretty okay job at it, despite all the injuries and hiccups between all those men. Finally, this ended up with Punk winning. This is obviously going to lead to a Punk MJF rematch. When that happens, we don't know. Awesome match. They finished the match with simultaneous GTS and paradigm shift, which I thought was pretty cool. They tried to do that at a certain point in the beginning of the in the middle of the match, or like 3/4 of the way through. It didn't work out, and that's how they finished the match, which I thought was great. AQA cut a promo before the match saying she was trained by Booker T, and said that if she wanted to prove herself, that Dynamite was the best place to do it. She proved herself by getting the shit kicked out of her by Jade Cargill. This match went a little bit longer than I would have liked, but Jade Cargill does need to have slightly longer matches if they want her to be the star that she should be. Yes, she's having her undefeated streak. Yes, you could have her have Goldberg-esque matches, because that's going to end up putting over the title and whoever takes the title from her. AQA kind of needed the showcase since she was debuting. They need women in that division who could talk and who could wrestle. I'm hoping AQA could do both because I'm not necessarily familiar with her. But, like despite the fact that she was with Jade Cargill, I thought she had a pretty okay debut. Young Bucks and Adam Cole were backstage. They said they're going to beat Roppongi Vice, and then once they're done with that, they're going to start focusing on the AEW tag team titles. So there are a lot of people circling around those titles who have mentioned it. Red Dragon has wanted it. The Bucks want it. Even though Kings of the Black Throne haven't said they wanted it, they are in the top 5, so I can only assume that it's only a matter of time. Once they're done with this fucking nonsense with Penta and Death Triangle, whatever, I just want them to go for the titles. Eventually. They said that, Cole said that Jay White's going to be in their corner on a Rampage. Bucks were kind of like, about it because, again, Jay White has a history with Kenny. Cole said when you're in Bullet Club, you're in Bullet Club for life. So, I don't know. But lots of stuff's going on with the Elite and the Bucks. I'm definitely interested in any storylines that have to do with the Bucks because they usually end up being, leading up to awesome tag team matches. So we will see. Serena Deeb comes out, says no one in the back could keep up with her. I didn't necessarily know about this rookie challenge until she talked about it. So but that might have been something announced on social media that I never got to see. She feats Katie Arquette, just like I guess a local jobber. Beat her like in 3 minutes. She wrestled once on AEW before, like a long time ago on Dark. They do a lineup for Rampage. It's going to be the Bucks versus Roppongi Vice. Bryan Danielson's got something to say, so he'll be having a promo. Hook versus Blake Lee, which is QT Marshall's, I guess, student. Britt Baker is going to face Robin Renegade in, I guess an exhibition match or whatnot. And the AEW Tag Team Championships are going to be on the line. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus the Ass Boys. The Gun Club. Dynamite so far, the only things we have set up for that is a no disqualification match between Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez, and Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus Santana and Ortiz. This leads up to the main event of the night, the Texas Death Match for the AEW World Championship. Hangman Adam Page beats Lance Archer. This got way more bloody than I thought it was going to be. I guess it had to be because you want to put over Lance and you want to put over Hangman. You want to make this match memorable. You get the juice. So they were busting open both of them. Hangman threw Lance Archer through like glass on stage. That basically busted open Lance. Hangman got busted open, I think, during the commercial break, completely covered Crimson Mask. The cool spot was at the end. Page uses the referee who was hunched over to get himself the leverage he needed for the buckshot lariat, which launched them both right outside the ring into tables that they had set up. Lance Archer could not meet the 10 count. Hangman retains the title. After that match, Adam Cole comes out, picks up the belt, puts it on Page, and made his intentions clear. He's coming for that belt. So, Adam Cole coming for that title. I don't think it's his time to win it yet. It's still Hangman's time. I do think that MJF is going to be the next champion. I don't think we're going to see Adam Cole holding any gold anytime soon, unless it's a tag belt, a trios belt, or the TNT title. But I do not expect him to be an AEW World Champion anytime soon. I do think that still, with the company being so young, it is important in these next couple of years to really establish the stars that are going to be here going forward. Adam Cole is young. I think he's like 30 or whatnot. But I do think it's the time for those 20-something-year-old guys to do it, like guys like Hook and Sammy and Darby and MJF, all this shit. But it's only a matter of time. But like, it's just this is an interesting problem, and this is going to go into my final thoughts for tonight. I was thinking about this earlier today. I was watching All Out 2021, and I was watching when Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson debuted. And it was something that JR had said when Adam Cole brought out that I want to put attention to. Basically said, the hottest free agent in the world is wearing the right colors. Wrestling, I've been pondering this recently because I see, just the whole back and forth between AEW fans and WWE fans and fans of other promotions, people who like the style and presentation of promotions like GCW, New Japan, Impact, Ring of Honor, PWG. And wrestling has they're in a very interesting place in the grand scheme of things when it comes to entertainment and when it comes to sports. From the look of it right now, every promotion kind of does things in their own particular way. They all have their unique whatever. Aside from like Impact, which is kind of like a WWE light, and Ring of Honor, which is probably more, well, I don't really know what it is right now, but I guess maybe we could say like a GCW has more like an old school ECW. You have a television show, you have one main pool of talent globally, and with the internet allowing us to see different promotions, like you're seeing everybody on different shows. Tony Khan is like a GM, but he's also he's both the writer of a television show and the general manager of like a sports team. And I'm not talking about Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not talking about Fulham. I'm talking about AEW. He is both parts a director and a writer and the guy who pulls the strings backstage in terms of the storylines that you and I as fans get interested in and putting together people with different personalities that come in and different characters and putting together storylines with those characters. You also have it where there's a very, I don't want to use the word like tribalism, but like, I say it's akin to sports teams. When JR said that there was that the hottest free agent on the market was wearing the right colors, in a way, he's 100% correct in the way that he explained that. Adam Cole, when he signed to AEW, that's as big as like when a really top tier guy signs up for your local sports team. You feel that same sense of, man, he's over there doing stuff, but he could do so much stuff for me and my team. But like AEW isn't necessarily a sports team. They are their own wrestling promotion with their own divisions and their own championships. So like when you see guys out there and they're in companies and they're not being utilized properly, I like to think of it, and the way that the fans react is kind of how I want to line this up, is that the fans react to it to, if like, let's say like, what was the initial reaction when like Tom Brady went to the, to the Bucks? You know what I mean? To the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all right? You got a guy who was in a team. He was being utilized properly. He won all these championships, super popular. Then he goes over to like another team that maybe not be, that isn't as popular. Now, obviously he led them to a Super Bowl and whatnot, but it's like, it was a big deal for the people at Tampa Bay when he signed to the Bucks. And it was a big deal when Adam Cole signed to AEW. He was a guy who was a big deal in another company, and he was being used in all the right ways. Thank God he got out from the WWE before they ruined him. And then he ended up getting signed to technically a no-name organization, and he's fucking leading them to a goddamn Super Bowl right now. This company is booming. It is extremely popular. It's on a fucking roll. And it's just an interesting dichotomy between, you have people who are fans of the kind of storytelling that's told in the world that's being creative, and you also have people that are technically fans of a team or a franchise, and you want them to succeed against other teams and franchises. Other teams being AEW, New Japan, Impact, GCW. So it's very interesting to have that kind of, that dichotomy where, pro wrestling, you have aspects of rooting for a sports team and seeing people being used in other locations and wanting them to be signed to other teams so that those teams could be better than rival teams. Then you also have where you have people who enjoy someone's character and their body of work, and you think that it's going to add to the storytelling capabilities of the company. guys like Keith Lee, guys like Adam Cole, guys like Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, they're essentially what Dana White wants. And Tony is allowed to book it that way, but UFC, it has to be very real. That's why guys like Conor McGregor were very rare. When he was on a roll and beating everybody, he had the skills, he had the promotional capability, he had the gift on the mic, and they pushed his ass to the top. He had it all. It doesn't matter what sport you're in or what form of entertainment, your connection with the crowd is everything, and your ability to be a master of your craft is another. So, McGregor, he was great in the beginning, and then he had that it factor where he was compelling enough that people wanted to watch him and look at him, not only when he was in the octagon, but outside of it. Unfortunately, the shit that he did outside the octagon ended up overshadowing what he did within it, and now he's a fucking lunatic. But, it's just very interesting. So, like, I like it when these wrestling guys are like, why are you rooting for a company to fail? It's just like, but if you're saying, like, why they're rooting for a company to fail, then I don't think you quite understand the universe that pro wrestling is in right now. It's part sports team, sports rivalry, and part who has the better television program. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like people wanting to compare Marvel television shows and television shows from DC. But they're two different types of television shows. They might even be using the same pool of actors, but the way that those actors are presented and the way that those characters are presented are different. So it's the same thing with that. Like, you kind of have that, like, rah-rah, root for team mentality, but it's also just a difference on how you interpret the art form and how you digest it. So, the shit that's going on right now with all of these, Process, what's good, buddy? It's good to have you in the chat, my friend. It's just an interesting dynamic that we're in with professional wrestling. The same, and like the same thing, and I was thinking about this earlier today. Way back when, I think there was a match with the Bellas and Paige and I don't know who else. But the women were pretty upset with the reaction from the crowd. And listen, like, here's the thing, like, if I'm there live and I don't like something, I'm gonna boo, okay? Now, if the wrestlers that are in the ring are doing a dog shit job, I'm gonna boo because they're doing a dog shit job. I think the problem is with people in with what's going on in WWE is I don't think the stars and necessarily I don't think the fans necessarily know how to properly direct their hatred towards the right person. Now, if we all know the way that WWE is being booked, they don't give those guys any creative freedom at all. Maybe one or two people have some more of a say than others, but otherwise they are the instruments of Kevin Dunn and Bruce Pritchard and Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Okay? So, like, there are instances when I boo, I'm booing the direction that they're taking those characters. Just like how I would boo a coach if he pulled out a pitcher when he was on a roll and could be having a no-hitter and be doing all this great shit, and then they pull him just for, like, whatever reason. So I may not necessarily be booing the talent. I may be booing the people directing the talent. So, okay, so they're like, oh, we don't want you to boo. That was disrespectful. Okay, all right, I get that. Fine. So then my only next step as a fan is if I show up and you don't want me to boo when I am displeased at the product that you're giving me because you can't understand directly as to why I'm booing, fine. I won't go to the shows. Then I'll just watch it on television and express my displeasure online like everybody else because I'm not there in person. Social media is a platform to get your voice out there, so why the fuck not, right? Who knows? It may not even be a wrestling-centric social media account. It could be a personal media account, and I'm just talking about something that I like on there, right? Okay. But then what happens when the show just isn't good and you can't, your voice is out there on Twitter where everyone else yelling and doing all this cockamamie bullshit, and your voice just gets lost in the muddle. You end up being lumped into some crazy group who's completely extreme when they're coming into their hate of wrestling, and you can't get your voice out there. So you're like, all right, well then if I can't exact change with my voice in live, or I can express my displeasure online, then, and which means I have no direct way of changing what I'm seeing, and it doesn't look like the product I'm watching is going to change, I'm going to stop watching. So that's what I did. I stopped watching. So when you tell fans not to voice their displeasure, when you tell them to shut up, eventually they are going to run out of platforms to speak on, to express how they feel about the product. And I don't necessarily feel that negative feedback is something that completely should be completely dismissed. Oh, Josh is in the chat. What's good, dude? Yeah, Kevin Dunn is a fucking loser. Oh, Marco Stunt is not long for this world, my friend. Marco Stunt, they're going to let his contract run out. I think a lot of people who got signed to AEW in the beginning were experimental, more of a let's see what, let's have a wide variety of things and let's see what works. After 2.5 years, we've kind of settled on what works based on the ratings and crowd feedback, and Marco Stunt is just not a part of that equation, my friends. He is not a part of that equation. And Tony isn't in the business of releasing people unless they want to. So he's going to be there until they get him released. But yeah, big night for AEW. I do think that the debuts of Keith Lee and Jay White were a big deal. I think Keith Lee was big to the more mainstream audience because he got that extra bit of spotlight from being on the main roster, even though they fucking jobbed him out and made him an idiot. He was immensely over in NXT. He was way over in the Indies before that. So this is a great get for AEW in terms of Keith Lee because he's a total package. He could do it all. Jay White, also a total package. He could do it all. And he introduces a lot more stuff going on with New Japan. So a lot of the hardcore fans who've been waiting for a lot of crossover between New Japan and AEW to happen, more of it is happening. You got exactly what you wanted. And again, I say once the COVID situation in Japan gets under control, I think we're going to see a lot more crossovers. I think Daniel Bryan is counting. He's praying to God that that it all gets solved within his 3-year contract with AEW. Unless after his contract is done with AEW, he does one more year in New Japan and has a fucking title shot. So, let's see. Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, Marco might be on his way to GCW. It's more of like I don't want to say like a freak show, but like it's more of like a lot of fringe characters are there, So Marco Stunt might fit there. He might get completely destroyed by Nick Cage one time and he might die, but that might actually happen. But, who sees? So, big night of Dynamite. Awesome Rampage from last week. We have another great Rampage coming up, so I'll be going over that next Wednesday when I go over this Friday's Dynamite and next Wednesday's. This Friday's Rampage and next Wednesday's Dynamite. So please stay tuned for that. A lot of big changes coming to the channel soon. The production value of this is going to be changing. I've been working with my producer in terms of things that we could do to kind of freshen up the look and make it a little bit more personable. It's a possibility I might be starting some really I'm going to be starting some I might be starting some social media accounts just to get the word out there, but I really would like to make the only time that I like the time that I interact with you guys to be on the live broadcasts. But the whatever social media I end up choosing to promote on, it'll just be to promote the podcast, to get the word out there, to maybe promote upcoming episodes, just to maybe we could get some more people to interact with us. I always love talking with you guys in the chat. You guys always have great booking ideas. Gold does. Oh, no. Josh, are we mining for gold tonight, bro? Let me know. So yeah, a great episode. I want to thank all you guys for tuning in. Like I said, big changes coming to the channel in the future. I actually have someone working on original music for the channel, which would be pretty cool. I have way too many friends who are musically inclined to not give them a platform and use this podcast to basically prop them up in their music and also give this channel something unique so I stop getting copyright strikes for when I get tired of using the license-free music and putting on fucking Van Halen like I did 2 weeks ago. But anyways, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Appreciate your interactions in the channel and on the chat. And I can't wait to see you guys next week for another episode of Smells Like Wrasslin. Aside from that, if you've noticed, the name of the channel has changed to the Smells Like Cologne Network. There are going to be offshoots of what I do here on this channel. There's going to be some gaming. There's going to be maybe some talk, some movies and music talk. So each of those topics will have their own channel. So as I kind of figure out the scheduling for that, I will let you guys know. But it looks like my plan, and it's a tentative plan, so please don't take this as gospel, but my tentative plan is to do a after show on Wednesdays of gaming from 11:30 to about 1 to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys want to, just let me know your feedback. The email address is smellslikecologne@gmail.com. You can send me your feedback there. And let me know if that's something you might be interested in. A gaming after show, basically. Me and a couple of my buddies, we basically game almost at the same time every night. And we have a great time. They're immensely entertaining individuals, and we play a lot of fun games. The last couple of games we played Outriders, we played Aliens Fireteam Elite, we played Gears of War 5, Halo Infinite, we played Deep Rock Galactic. Witch Queen is eventually coming out for Destiny 2. We're going to probably be playing some of that. So we play, a bunch of PvE games, a handful of PvP games. So if you guys want to join and be entertained and you're a fan of that kind of stuff, definitely tune back to this channel in the future. And hopefully once the social media gets up and running, we'll be able to promote that as well. But again, thank you guys all for tuning in. I appreciate all you and your continued support of the channel. And I can't wait to see you guys next week for another episode of Smells Like Wrasslin. You guys take care.